Good morning, Brad, Paul, and Bryson. How are we all? Audio coming through all right? Morning, Matt. I'm late. I did bring a note. Hey, Carl. I let you guys all know I was going to be late. Made a post about it and everything on Facebook and on YouTube. Okay. Is there enough in that? What in the hell is in my boot? Good afternoon. Hanging. How you going? G'day. What in the hell is going on? Getting shanked in the foot by something. Sorry, Eric. Yeah, I did put a post out on Facebook and Insta letting people know that I was going to be a tiny touch late. Does my gas line heat up where it is? Well, it doesn't normally sit on top of the forge. But when it's normally draping, this one normally sits down there. It doesn't heat up there. No. This area here doesn't really heat up much. Most of the heat comes out the door. Right, so don't think there's enough material in this, but that's okay. I have other pieces, lots of other pieces. I suppose I could make a small one, but that kind of defeats the purpose. Ooh, that's an idea. Oh, that sounds painful. Should I do it anyway? Probably. Okay, let's try. I'm going to turn this piece of wrought iron into a Kiridashi, or at least that section of it. And yes, it's wrought iron. We're going to forge weld some 52-100 to it to make it a usable Kiridashi. Gas tank. Quickly zip this off. Grab my goggles. There you go, and that can go to something else. This wrought iron was actually donated by Paul. He's trying to summon Roy. Hi Roman, how you going? Paul Wheeler, how you going? Morning Wayne. Morning Wombat. Floyd. Davos, how you going? Yeah, so this is wrought iron that was donated by Paul. I believe it was Paul Wheeler, and Paul Orchard donated some wrought iron as well, which is amazing. He also gave me an axle, which I'm going to turn into stuff. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this style of Kiridashi with the tail. I'll think about it when I'm forging it. But basically, the idea is I'm going to flatten this, and then I'm going to upset it to give myself a little bit more meat width-wise, and then we're going to cut a piece of that right there is a sheet of 52-100 that a friend of mine had a whole bunch of chef's knives cut out of, and then I got the scrap because I can use all of those little scrap pieces to make forge weldable stuff. So we're going to forge weld a piece of 52-100 to this to make a good Kiridashi. Means I have to use the big boy today though, because it has to sit on the floor, which means it's going to get fucking warm in here. Because one thing this forge is not cool. I think this will be one of the first times me using the big forge on a stream, funnily enough. Luckily, it is going to be the coolest day this week, which doesn't not saying much because it's going to be like 33, 35 degrees. Hello, Alex Hernandez, how you going? Stefan, Neil, Patricus. How you going, Shamrock? Hey, Chaz. Hey, Wiley. Oh, that's right. I was going to do dagger forging, wasn't I? Oh, well, I've changed my mind. Sorry. Promise I'll do that, though. That'll be... No, I said that will be my next theory stream, Wiley. Don't put words in my mouth. Next theory stream, which will be next month. Try and minimize the amount of heat in this workshop. I could do a wrought iron dagger. I could do a wrought iron sanmai. Big fan. Well, I appreciate that, Alex. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the reminder, Neil. Make sure to hit that like button. We've got 23 people in the chat and only 15 likes. Hey, 23 p.m. Friday. Well, hello from the future. Future's looking bright. Like really bright. It's glary out there. Hey, Bob. How you going? So that's going to take a little bit to heat up. How are we all this week? Kind of warm too, yeah. Well, we're heading for a maximum of 40, 41. This week for a couple of days. I think Monday, Tuesday are going to be 40 and 41 respectively, and around them they're going to be like it's going to be like 38-ish, which really sucks. Supposed to get above freezing. Well, you know, that's good for you guys. I wouldn't mind being just above freezing right now. Tell you what, this forge here is perfect for winter because this thing throws off heat like nothing else. Hey Joel. Hey Baron, how we going? -4 Celsius. From the States. So 40, 41 is about like 110, 108, 110, up in there. Yeah, screw you, Aaron. Sorry, you're gonna have to clean the camera. Got a little dirt on your cheek. darn hot. Yeah, real hot. Today it's only going to get up to about like 85, 90 Fahrenheit. But still, going to be warm. Not my favorite kind of weather, let's just say that. Yeah, it's bad. that's you know, that's like our normal. So I was complaining to Christy that it's getting warm again because we had a run of reasonable heat, like 75, 80 last week, and I was like, yeah, that's not bad. Like, it was nice. I had cool nights where we didn't have to use the friggin' aircon to go to sleep. This week, yeah, we're out of luck now. We're back to Australian summer. Heat wave made it to freezing. Hey, Metal Man, how you going? Just gonna give her a tapper to straighten her out. This is all old wagon tire, so upsetting it's going to be fun. Hey Elijah, how you going? I think I see Cat Van Forge in there. Yep, I do. I was snowed out of the workshop for almost a week. Oh, fair enough. Hey Ed, how you going? Sorry if I miss anyone. It's a little hectic. So I was doing some forging practice yesterday for my next video, which will be instruction on how to forge a full tang knife. It won't be this design. This was a design that I wanted to play with. I want to make another 2 of these to try and like dial in the design a bit. But yeah, I'll be doing a full tang knife forging video very soon. Well, actually, very soon, I mean like this week. Beauty of wrought iron, you can quench it for upsetting, which is nice. Oh dear. Oh no. Yeesh. Okay, I have a feeling I know what this is going to be like. Yeah, very splitty. Hey Midrift, hey Yamez, how we going? Getting stock ready for the Perth show? Yes, kind of. This one's actually a gift for someone. Yeah, this stuff is really splitty. It looks a little high in phosphorus from the look of that split. Whew, boy. Gotta love working with wrought iron. Can I afford to build a back? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to attempt. I'm currently heating it up for that. Problem with phosphorus cracks is that it's very, very rough. Like, it's very coarse crack. It's not a straight line crack or anything like that. It's a shame, because it would mean that I'd have to refine this stuff and hopefully refine out some of the phosphorus, although it's unlikely that I could do that. I don't know. We shall see. Threw a little bit of borax on it. See what happens. Just tears apart. Yeah, well, it could be some pretty nasty. Yeah. Unfortunately, wrought iron, because it's such a rough material, and it was never really manufactured in like a controlled environment. It was always a very rough ideal of what they wanted, and so you end up with a lot of pieces of wrought that have a lot of sulfur, phosphorus, and all kinds of nasty alloying contents that aren't good for like making stuff out of. But they didn't care, because they were only interested in actually making the wagon tire out of it or something, and it didn't really matter if it had a lot of voids and shit in it. Yeah. Well, that would be the sulfur. Tears, yeah. Yeah, that would be extreme high sulfur content. I'm glad you liked that Forging 101. That's basically what I'll be doing again, but I'll be doing the full knife in full tang. If people are interested in that, if you enjoyed that live stream where I went into how do I forge a blade, then that's basically what I'll be doing again, but in video format with all the heats cut out. It's liable to be a bit of a long one, so just a warning, but you know. No, I haven't actually, because the way that my anvil's mounted, and also where my my drum sits, in order for me to walk into the horn, I would literally have to trip myself on the on the slop tank in order to actually hurt myself doing that. So I'm very unlikely to ever come into contact with the horn. Oh, did Jared drop in? Oh, that sucks, Jared. Good luck, mate. Yeah, wrought iron, you got to get real hot. Not sure if I'm going to be able to save this piece. It seems to want to just crumble. I'm wondering... There it goes. Let's see if I can forge weld it back to itself. This will tell me whether I'm wasting my time. Because if the phosphorus and sulfur content are high enough, it just won't forge weld. Not unless you get it sparkling, and I can't get it sparkling in this forge. Hey, Duncan, there you going? Oh, that's good, Wayne. Yeah, I did flux it, but you know, we'll see. Fixing busted pipes all day. That seems to be a common theme at the moment. See, that's the thing about trip-on. Spout. Hey, Rob. Thanks, mate. Put a small set block right next to the forge. Setting the weld immediately out of the fire. Oh, yeah, well. Nah, she's right. I'll just have to do it with my back to you. My cube, yeah. The cube's under the anvil at the moment. Should have plenty of time. Forging Kiridashi, that is kind of the intent, yeah. So what exactly is a Kiridashi? It is a Japanese marking knife, a Japanese carpenter's knife. It's this. This is a Kiridashi. This is my shop Kiridashi. It is normally chisel ground, and it can be either left-handed or right-handed. This is a right-handed version. They don't normally have the ring on the back, but I wanted something I could hang. And basically it's used for marking lines in wood, for sharpening pencils. I use it for pretty much everything. It's basically just a shop knife. But yeah, they're a simple, traditional Japanese tool. I'm going to see if I can set this weld while also not being in the camera for you guys. It's set. It's stuck. That's a good sign. And there was a nice little spurt. Hey, Trail Dust, how you going? Paul, how you going? You almost missed me, that's alright. You're not required to be here, I just appreciate you being here. Well, welcome, Davos. I hope you enjoy it. Unfortunately, forging live streams, a lot of the time you're just waiting for the metal to heat up. I try and make it as entertaining as I can and educational as I can. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Everyone knows in my chat, or everyone can say in my chat, that they are that I like to make my streams as educational as possible, and I'm normally pretty good at answering questions when asked. I'm also really good at giving advice that people don't ask for. Dance. Any experience with brake rotor forges? Yes, I've built 2. I don't have any, but I have helped build 2 of them, and they're effective. They're good. Yes, you do. You have a lot of podcasts. We're coming up on the 100th episode. So the 100th episode won't be the special one, won't be the super important one. The super important one will be 104, which is our 2-year anniversary. And that one, we're planning on being a live stream. Hey, Crawford. How you going? Think you're building a brake rotor forge? There are a bunch of really good videos on how to build them on YouTube. They're a relatively simple build. It's just a T-section, it's a T-section tweer welded to a brake rotor. You don't really need. There are some people who will say you need to line the inside of the brake rotor with like refractory cement. I don't agree. I don't think it's necessary, but if you want to, you can. If you want to work long pieces of material, you're going to need to cut out some U sections out of the walls so that you can get the material all the way through. And when you make your grate, you want a minimum of 6mm holes, or like quarter inch, absolute minimum, because anything smaller than that will clog up too fast. Most of my holes in my bottom plate were about like 3/8, 10 mil. So. But yeah, welcome to the blacksmithing community. It's a wonderful place to be. There are lots of friendly and educational people out there. I am only one of them. Roy would be very proud. I'm using very, very small amounts of flux. Oh, excellent. I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast. Yes, absolutely, Metal Man. They are worth the price of 3 or 4 aluminium oxide belts. If I was to grind with an aluminium oxide belt, I would get maybe 1 bevel out of a Alox belt before it was too blunt to actually provide a decent surface finish. Whereas a good quality ceramic belt, like a Cubitron, hello Mr. Hornet, can you go away please? Thank you. A decent Cubitron, whilst ostensibly about 3 to 4 times the price, will last me several blades worth of grinding. So yes, entirely. Yeah, no, don't use Bunnings. Either Rhino Wet, which you can get from Cameco Artisan Supplies, or you can go to Rob at Weber Abrasives. You call Rob at Weber Abrasives in South Australia. He supplies COAT sandpaper, which is my preferred sandpaper. COAT stuff goes up to 2,500. Cameco just recently started stocking 3,000s in Rhino Wet. Okay, while that's heating up, just gonna get my 52-100 segment ready. There we go. Little chunk of 52-100 to put on the edge. One more heat and then I'll weld it. Need to make a dipper. Alright. Little bit of borax. Boop. So I'll just show you what I'm doing. I've got the borax on there, and I've got the 52-100 sitting on top of the paddle. And we're gonna stick that in there and wait for it to heat up. Really don't want water on the anvil when I'm forge welding because that will be loud. Ask me how I know. Ceramic won't touch best cast steel. Well, best cast steel doesn't exactly exist, so yes, it won't touch it. That's true. Yeah, no, ceramic needs high speeds. Hey, Rodney, you just missed me making some wrought iron the right shape. Lum Num? I have no idea what that is. I will say that they'll still stay sharper than Alox will at low speeds. Hello, Dylan. Aluminum. Aluminium, yes, aluminium, indeed. So yeah, ceramics prefer around 3,000 surface feet per minute and higher, but even on a 1x30, they will improve the cutting performance. Use a dirty sharp rag to wipe the anvil. I do, and we talked about that on our most recent episode of the podcast, which is why I think you made that. Grizzly should be fast enough. Oh no, that's not good. This is the problem with frickin' borax. Jesus. Where's my little pointer? That'll do. Please don't tell me you welded. Oh, you bastard. Oh no, that's not good. Okay. Stay in the atmosphere. Try and, oh god. Oh me, oh my. Let's see if I can drop some borax on it inside the atmosphere of the forge. I don't like my chances. I got a little bit on there. All right, let's see if I can get this welded. I don't like my chances. Okay. Flux. $52,100 is a bitch to weld. You need to be quick and careful. And that camera wasn't pointing at anything, was it? Sorry, I should be paying attention. No, what happened was, because like that 52100 was just sitting on the top, and the borax liquefies at high temperatures, the 52100 slipped off the top of the wrought iron, and then stuck in place at an angle like that off the top of the wrought iron. And I was hoping that it hadn't welded inside the forge, which can happen. But I did just do the first tack, so. Significantly more swearing, yeah, well. I'm trying to keep it pink. Zirconia aren't bad at low speeds. They're better than Alox, definitely. How you going, Wilkins? Once you get to the higher speed, Once you get the higher speeds, the zirconias don't last that long. Nick Tron, $2. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that off camera. I just was a little distracted. Iron Mountain does have iron filings, indeed. I'm not using Iron Mountain at the moment, although according to Jared Russell, I have some on the way. So I've got it tacked up. I'm just using straight up borax at the moment. I've switched over to a smaller hammer. I'm going to do light, fast blows. The 5100 is slightly larger than the wrought iron because I'm hoping that I know that the wrought iron is going to spread as I hit it. Weld that toe in. So this next heat, I'm going to forge the edges over to try and blend it a little. I'm doing what I promised myself I would never do, use borax in my big forge. Yeah, Iron Mountain's great. 1600 to 2000 RPM. It's not so much to do with the good add grinder dust borax. Not so much because grinder dust tends to be oxidized, which doesn't help. I showed you my mountain stash, did he? So the RPM isn't the important part. It's the size of your drive wheel and the torque of the motor, right? So you could have a 40,000 RPM motor, but if it's, like a micro motor, then it's only going to, it's not going to have any resistance when you push into the belt. So you need a high torque, high speed motor. I think if I've still got the label on mine, I can't remember what, but mine's a 100 hertz motor, so it runs at 7,000 surface feet per minute off a 5-inch drive wheel. Bandsaw dust. Yeah, well, bandsaw would be good because it's not oxidized. Grinder dust is oxidized, so you don't want to do that. Hole in a steel cart, yeah. 1/30 has a torque of a newborn. Yeah, well. Yeah, again, lathe chips and stuff like that, small lathe chips would be fine, as long as you clean them, because otherwise they'll be covered in oil. All right. Trying to turn the 52-100 over the edge. Try and add a little bit more gription. It's definitely stuck because it ain't moving. Tiny little spritz. I'm trying not to put too much flux in this forge, because the whole idea of this forge was that I wasn't going to put any flux in it, but I'm breaking my rules. How can we trust you breaking our rules? Do as I say, not as I do. Seen Smith's adding diesel to billets while forge welding? You mean like throwing diesel on the already hot billet, or are we talking about soaking them in diesel before forge welding? What are you doing now? What is your magic malfunction? Alright, whatever. Be a bitch, don't care. I do indeed have some good ventilation. There is lots of open area in my forge. Hey Jeff, how you going? No, not out of gas. Still running the same PSI. The tank's mostly full. I think it's just the flame disconnected from the nozzle. Toasted PBJ or ice cream. Man, I hate you. So, nah, I don't need to turn up the pressure. Like I said, it's just, the flame's just disconnected from the nozzle. It's actually still being as hot as it needs to be. And it's not going to blow itself out because it's a forge welding temperature in there. It's fine. So I'm just blending the toes out of the weld. I don't think I'm going to fully get the weld out for the 52-100 at least, because yeah, it's way harder than the wrought iron below it. You can hear it if I turn the pressure down a little bit and then turn it back up again. You hear it reconnect to the nozzle. But if I turn it down, it starts disconnecting again. There you go. Yeah, this just takes a little tuning. Very. The answer to the question from your wife, very. They soak in diesel before forging. So not diesel, but kerosene is quite common. Although diesel would have similar effect. Basically what it does is provide a barrier to oxygen before you go to forge welding. It also provides the ability to stick borax on the billet before you stick it into the forge, because it's wet, but then it'll burn off. People used to use WD-40 before that, but the problem was the WD-40 would then inhibit the weld. The other thing that kerosene does is when it burns off with a slight carbonizing layer, because it turns into pure carbon lamp black, and that can, you know, it is theorized that it prevents decarbonization, which I think is complete bullshit, but people like it and it works. The big thing is that if your billet's totally clean, you stick it in kerosene until you're ready to forge weld, and then you stick it into a forge that has a completely neutral atmosphere, you can get away with fluxless forge welding of Damascus billets that way, and that's how a lot of the guys now do it over in the States. But the only way that I would recommend doing that is if you have a forge press or a power hammer, because you need a lot of force to make it work. And you need to have really good control of your atmosphere and a very good understanding of how fast you can move, because you can't leave it out in the atmosphere for too long because it'll oxidize and then you're stuffed. I don't use kerosene because I use flux, and I can flux it at a low temperature. Yeah, no worries, metal man. Like, you know, it's a choice. Yeah, you only get one pass out of it, that's it. Hey, Mule Kick, how you going? I need a ribbon burner. One day. Dirty Damascus showing the roughy stuff. Still Forge World. Yes. We've discussed this on the Forgecast, and I've discussed it in various other forums over the years. So, can you Forge Weld rusty stuff? I just proved that you can because I just welded the wrought iron. I didn't clean that stuff. I just Forge Welded it. But the argument is not that you can't. It's that if you want reliable, repeatable, and controllable results, you need to control as many variations on the theme as you can. Right? So as many variables as you can control, you want to control them. It is about hedging your bets. So, yes, you could like stack up like mill scale covered 1084, like straight from the factory. This stuff, you could just layer this up with the 15 and 20 still with the scale on it, and potentially with the right amount of flux and the right amount of luck, you could get a decent billet out of it. But your likelihood of having inclusions that could potentially delaminate during heat treat or during grinding is astronomically higher than someone who cleans their billet. And then there's the argument between flux and fluxless welding. If you're doing fluxless welding, you flatten your billet and you seal it in a canister, or you seal the sides with weld or whatever, you are then exponentially more likely to get a decent weld over someone who's using flux, because borax doesn't weld to itself. Borax actually inhibits welds if it gets trapped. So it's all about hedging your bets. So at the end of the day, yes, you can forge weld. You can forge weld rusty steel. And anyone who tells you can't is full of shit. But the fact that you can does not mean that you should. It's like the fact that you can fluxlessly weld high carbon steels in both coal and in gas. But like I just said, it's a hit and miss game, and unless you know exactly what you're doing and you can control all of the other variables surrounding your own work and your setup and your layout and all your tooling, then you're going to have a higher likelihood of failure. So when it comes to making Damascus, for instance, for a sword or whatever project I'm making, I have spent, you know, say $100 on the steel that I'm going to put into this sword. I don't want to potentially lose that $100 worth of steel because I was too lazy to clean my billet. Like, I can afford to risk it with this Kiridashi because it's literally a tiny offcut of wrought iron and a very small piece of the 52100 that I have. And it's also just kind of a fun project that I'm making for a friend anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But if this was a custom paying order or more expensive materials or something that I actually needed to get done today, like absolutely needed to get done, then you're damn right, I'd be cleaning everything and making sure that it was completely, perfectly set out so that I didn't have a risk of failing. Now, please don't take my tone as being angry or anything like that. It's just purely I've had this argument with a bunch of people My answer will always remain the same. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Well, that's very true, Wayne, as well. That's the one. Yeah, and Joey, you know, is a totally different beast. Brass is a massive pain in the absolute arse to forge. Basically, you need to treat it much like copper, and don't try and forge it hot. Like, forging it hot, you're just bound to let it crumble. Forge it cold. Anneal, forge it cold, and then anneal again. Rinse, repeat until desired result. Right, now I can flip it around and actually forge out the handle of this thing. So I'll quickly show you a close-up of the piece. Whoops. Try not to drop it. Whoop. Stand behind it. You should be able to see a seam here and a seam there. The seam here is from the wrought iron that I folded back. This seam here is the 52-100. They're relatively invisible. I'm pretty happy with it. The end is going to end up getting cut off at an angle, so I don't really care about the raggedy end. But yeah, there was a recent episode that Alex and I did around forge welding and covering your ass when it comes to making Damascus. But my point will always be, cover your bases, make it easier on yourself. Yes, actually Jason's correct. Shamrock Forge is correct. If you want to learn how to forge brass, forging aluminium will help you. Made brass calculator, yeah. Done that. Yeah, and like Tim's whole point was that it's not absolutely necessary. That means you're running a really high pressure, Joel. And your forge isn't super Oop. Come on. There we go. Hinges or handles or FM draw, blah, blah, blah. Actually, Catman Forge recently has been making a Damascus spoon, which is kind of cool. Store some stabilizing wood with resin. How necessary is it? Depends. It really does depend. Aluminium. You mean? So, stabilizing wood, okay, for knife handles, I would say it is absolutely necessary. Just, like, on a professional scale, stabilizing handles is an absolute necessity if you're in the high high levels of making where your fit and finish is getting really nice and neat. But I would say that stabilized timber is always going to be better than normal timber in pretty much any situation on a knife. And the reason for that is because stabilized timbers are less likely to be susceptible to hot, cold, and moisture. So they won't shrink or expand or crack or anything like that like natural timbers will. There are certain natural timbers that you can't stabilize, like cocobolo and ebony are two very, very difficult woods to stabilize because they're very oily. They're very sneak of the harm it does. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the thing that it's, the oils are also really dangerous. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a better ironwood. It depends on the ironwood. Like there are certain ironwoods that, especially punky ironwoods that have been like dried too long. But yeah, a lot of ironwoods are very oily and won't stabilize. But yeah, in general, the main response to all of that is stabilized timbers, yes. If not an absolute necessity, then definitely an improvement. Could probably switch to a bigger hammer now, he says as he continues using the tiny little baby hammer. Definitely using the wrong set of tongs for this, he says as he continues to use the exact wrong set of tongs for this. God damn it, stay up there. And that's it, tongs. Well, mine are only 20 pound. 20 pound? Yeah. 9 kilos. That's mine. Baby hammer. Making your own stabilized woods, dry woods after they're done in the oven with 0 moisture content. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like seeing Damascus made into all kinds of stuff that's not knives. It's just that I'm a knife maker, so I do make Damascus in things that are knives because I'm a knife maker. That's what I do. Yeah, I want to get some bigger tanks. If you want to get into stabilizing, it's a lot of it's a lot of money to sink into the process. There are normally people that'll stabilize it for you. Here in WA, we have Mark Sinclair of Sinclair Stabilized Timbers, who stabilizes for $15 a block. And he does a 3-month-long process to get his stabilization. It is the best stabilization in the world, guaranteed, hands down. Every time I will always go to Mark for my stabilized timbers. That's not saying that you can't get a decent result at home, it's just that you're less likely to get a decent result compared to the guys who are doing it professionally. I mean, shock horror, the professionals are better set up for it than you guys are. That is normally the case. Gotta remember which side my 52-100's on. You know your weld's good when you lose track of which side the material's on. So the big thing with making Damascus anything is that it needs to be able to be sanded. So if you can't get into an area on a piece that's made out of Damascus, it's not going to show the pattern. That's the one downside of making things that aren't knives out of Damascus, is that they have to be able to be sanded. So yeah, stabilization fills the voids in wood, the space between the fibers, and also drives out and replaces moisture in the wood and oils in the wood with a hardened resin, which means that the thing is not going to move, which is good. What is this creativity you speak of? I have no idea. Yeah, I always liked that saying. Creativity is a muscle. You need to train it. Well, I have this piece of feather Damascus that I'm going to send to Kat. As soon as we can get contact with her brother. Some beautifully coarse wrought iron, this stuff. Can't wait to etch it and see what's going on. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that it's all flat. Do. Yep, looks good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quench the tail. Not the 52-100, because if I did that, it would crack. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. But then we'll let the cool. See you later, Neil. What is my favorite? Sorry, Daniel. I'm like trying to, trying to flow through everything and. Oh, the English cutler's hammer. It's my favorite. So there was a couple of questions. What's my favorite step in making? Can you bugger off? Sorry, there's a hornet that I'm having an argument with. So my favorite step in making a knife, probably, it'd be difficult to name it. Can you really? Australian hornets, man. It's like this big. Anyway. Yes, Bryson, I'll be making yours soon. Now, that being said, bugger off, yes, indeed. What was I saying? Jesus, keep getting distracted. Favorite part of making a knife? The forging. Yeah, I don't know. There is something about it. Like I enjoy all parts of knife making equally. In many respects, like there are parts that I hate and there are parts that I love. During summer, I like forging a lot less than I like it when it's winter. So during summer, my favorite part would probably be like hand sanding. Because I get to sit inside and listen to music or hang out with people and online and stuff like that. During winter, on the other hand, forging is definitely my favorite. Well, I just said hand sanding, Wayne. Definitely forging. And that's why I'm a bladesmith and not a knife maker. But I enjoy like most parts of knife making, including grinding and my least favorite part is probably handle fitting, like doing the fittings. WA winter when it gets down to 10 degrees. That's exactly correct. My winter is basically your spring, so yeah. We don't really get a winter here. Not a real one. But anyway, yeah, so that would be my favorite part. Those would be my two favorite parts, and then the rest of it's kind of my least favorite part. Grinding, I don't mind grinding. I've had a lot of practice at it. I've done it a lot. I don't not like it, but at the same time, I get a lot of burned fingers, a lot of removed skin, a lot of pain, and if I stuff up, then it's really bad, and I need to start over again, and that's always scary, so that's that. Handle fitting is my least favorite because it's so tedious. Just constant check and recheck and check and recheck and lots of little fiddly bits and stuff, especially given that my bench drill is not square at all. And no matter what I do to do it, I cannot make it square. So making anything line up is a massive pain in the butt. It takes a lot more practice and time than I'm willing to admit. All right, so we have our piece of steel that is in the vague shape of a Kiridashi. Handguards, yeah. Well, that's true. That's the same for me. Unfortunately, my favorite part of knife making is the shortest part of knife making. Okay, so I'm going to let's see if we can bring you over to the grinder. We might lose connection. I'm going to try and keep you in line with the door so that hopefully we don't, and you guys can watch me burn some steel. Now, I'm not going to do it with this belt because cling spores are horrible and they should not exist. But they do, sadly. See if I got a burnt out Cubitron 60. There we go. Very burnt out Cubitron 60. Goggles. All right. God damn it. Hey, Adam. Hey, Holla, how you going? Don't mind me, be with you in a minute. Well, turns out this one's going to be a dry run. This one's going to end up on my Etsy store. Oh, feeling better, Adam? That's good. Glad to hear. In oxidizing or reducing atmosphere? Reducing atmosphere. And I will describe that in a minute. Kiritsuke. Kiritsuke. Yeah. All right. So yes, we're making a wrought iron in 52100 Kiridashi. And you can see, hopefully, if I get the camera to focus. Come on, camera, focus. You can see the grain through the grinder marks. It's really coarse. And you can just see where the 52100 starts and stops. Stops just short of the heel. I got a little bit close there. But can anyone think of why I might have said damn it when I was grinding? I'll give you a hint. I think the bevel is there. No, hot is not the problem. I made a mistake. Oh, and also I did cut myself pretty badly on the edge of the grinder, but that's pretty normal. Yes, it's wrong-handed. Exactly. I wasn't paying attention when I was forging, and I forged it so that the 5100 is on the wrong side, so it's now a left-handed Kiridashi. You could use it right-handed. It'll be good for like whittling, sharpening things and stuff like that, because the bevel will be on the piece rather than the flat, but this is technically a left-handed Kiridashi now, so yes, there's that. 'Tis but a scratch. Yeah. Cut through the dermis and the epidermis. But yeah, the grain is insane. Like, come on, camera, focus. There we go. You can see it in the bevel there. It's gonna look nice. Yeah, there's my nasty wound. Oh. And yeah, you can just see the weld seam there. You can see where the edge ends, just next to the end of the piece of 52100, but that's fine. Right, well, that means heat treating time. And in the interest of not burning through so much gas, I'm going to heat treat using my... Oh, and stamp it, that's correct. Heat and back up and push it over. Nah, I'm not going to do that now. I've ground it. Now I've ground it, it's... now too late. It's too late, Anakin. I do need to stamp it, though. That's correct. I'm going to do that cold. Because I can, because it's wrought iron. But there it is. Bada boom. There you go. Marked. And now I'm going to get my torch. Oh dear. Fucking hell, that's heavy. Oh. Need a new clicker. My clicker broke, which is why I'm using a normal lighter to light my LPG O2 torch. Oh, come on. Light. Well, that would make sense, because I... dumbass. You'll note I'm heating from the wrought iron side. See you later, Joel. I'm going to do one normalizing cycle and then I'm going to quench it. Oh man, this is going to look sick. Definitely going to be making another one. Well, I have to make another one. Once it's past black, it's normalized. Once there's no glow in it, there's probably a little bit more glow in it. I'm using the shade of the anvil to see. All right. And nope. Missed. It's like committing a murder. You gotta hold it under until the bubbles stop. Get my filthy rag. And we got some nice martensite formation. That's what we like to see. And now I'm going to stick that in the oven. Because with 50-100, I like the extra amount of time you give to a temper cycle. Oh yeah, I forgot that was in there. Wonder if this is straight now. Still bent. Just a little less so. Well, that's not bad. Oh, another shim temper for that one, I think. Right. So, that's that. A forged wrought iron and 52-100 Kiridashi. No, it won't snap. It's wrought iron. But yeah, so I have to thank Paul for the wrought iron. That was only a piece of what he sent me. He actually sent me a whole bunch of wrought iron. Later, Davos. Now do a right-handed one. Yeah, well, next time. I also have this amount of wrought iron, and Paul Orchard also sent me a whole bunch of wrought iron as well. So I have a whole crap load of wrought iron now, which is great. Love it. Love your work. So you can look forward to more wrought iron in the future. Lots of fun stuff. I want to make a hammer out of at least some of it. Yeah, new projects. I've got the video for the forging of the sword. This pattern welded Viking sword. See you later, Bryson. Not chicken dinner. Oh. So the first video of that will be up on my Patreon for them to see for a while. People won't, like the public won't have access to it for a while because I want to get a couple of videos out before I Actually, I've already a couple of videos edited up before I actually start showing it. But yeah, that's something that the boys on Patreon can look forward to. Other than that, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I need to do for a knife show. There will be a video out on Wednesday of doing a full forging demonstration of how to forge a full tang knife. Similar vein to this one. So if you're interested in seeing something like that, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Not exactly the same as that one. I'm going to do a little bit more simple than that one. That one involves a couple of advanced techniques. And then I've got another video after that that's going to be forging a hidden tang. So like a standard hidden tang knife that I've been requested to do. I also have some plans for educational content surrounding inlays and engraving. I don't know how many build videos I'm going to be able to do in the near future up until knife show, because I'm focusing on building and not filming. The educational content takes me a little bit less time to film, but more time to edit. So it's just one of those things where I have to kind of split the time between the two. But yeah, in that interest of that, if you're interested in seeing more of me and talking to me and stuff like that, I'm on Twitch quite a bit, normally at nighttime rather than morning like I am here, but I will always have my Saturday smithing streams unless something horrible happens, which I hope it won't, knock on wood. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you're all having a fantastic time out there, staying safe, especially those of you in the snowy south. Andrew Johnson, thank you very much for joining in. Crap toning trigonometric dookie, indeed. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, it's the knife show is coming up. I have a whole bunch of hammers to make, a whole bunch of axes to make, so we might see some streams very soon of me making hammers and axes, doing some production run stuff, just so that I can split the time evenly and actually get some work done at the same time as entertaining you folks, which I always enjoy. I need to make a bunch of hex hawks and stuff like that as well. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to jump off. It's really warm now. I'm going to go inside and then cool down. You guys who are cool, get warm. And I will see you next time, probably Wednesday. See you later, guys.